Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, a couple of reminders that I am not your financial advisor, and we never provide any investment advice on this channel ever. So with that being said, if you're new, thanks so much for joining. Make sure that you go back to the first video of the series, day one, just to go ahead and get those introductions out of the way and to see how things are going to flow throughout the series. If you're somebody that's been with us, from the very beginning or somewhere along the way, thanks so much for continuing to follow along in the series amongst all the various options that you have here on YouTube. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel and the series by being here. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into a little bit of a review. No major moves, but this one, we talked about Super Bowl coin, and I gave you guys my thoughts, in regards to this. Super Bowl is obviously going to be, what is it, the 9th, I think, so we still got about 8 days away from that, but I said, a lot of times when you have these event tokens, typically they'll go ahead and they'll go up and they'll come back down, and they'll just kind of sit, there, on the water, for a little bit, and sometimes they head back up, closer to the event that we get, and sometimes they don't. So this one, actually, we found this one, 179K. You can look here at the notes. All right, there we go. Created 4 days ago. Like I said, I shared my thoughts with you guys at that time in regards to this, but we set some alerts just to go ahead and keep an eye on it. And so this one is triggered, here at disabled. That is what's indicating that it was triggered when it went over 200K. And then this one, it never went under 100K. And I said at the time, I wasn't sure that it would retrace that much. Okay, but either way, 179, and then we can see that it peaked out, here just over 400K. So I mean, obviously, some pump, there, around the 2x or so, and but either way, we'll take the pump, because again, pumps can take place anywhere from a 2x, all the way to 10x and beyond. And again, we've seen the whole gamut, across the board here in the series, since what are we now? This is, I think, day 51. So we've been doing this for 51 days now, and there have been plenty of different examples, of tokens that have been found early and have pumped anywhere from a 2x to 10x and beyond. So, but even now, it's still sitting, here at 216 on the market cap. So still, I mean, it's hanging in there, still doing pretty good, in spite of the peak here. So they did retrace, and so obviously there's still buy pressure, as you can see indicated by this candle, and so no major dumping. Obviously, we see here that on the peak, it's, as I've said before, anytime you go ahead and you get a peak, on a candle with a lot of buys that come in, you're going to get that sell pressure, just because people got in earlier, or maybe they've been holding bags, but obviously whenever you see that pump, that's increasing the value of people's bags, and they're going to go ahead and sell, take initials, take profit, that kind of thing. So, but people are still in this one, so we'll have to see, how this continues to, flow, for the next several days. I think it'll be an achievement, if it can still, maintain, kind of like this sideways trading pattern, and then start to move up. If it can hold, these levels, for the next, 7 or 8 days, I mean, I think that's definitely something to go ahead and pay attention to. But again, we're going to keep an eye on this one. So as far as the alerts, are concerned, we're sitting at 216, like I said. So what we're going to do, we're going to update this one. Okay, and I don't really do this very often, here on camera. Typically I do it off camera, but we're going to say 216 updated, so I'm just indicating, that this is an updated market cap, okay? So, and actually we don't want to work on this one, because this one is the one that's still active. So we want to do this one. So here, so we're going to say 216K updated, and let's go ahead and let's move this to, let's say, this is going to be a little bit different. I want to see if there's going to be some real movement here. So we're going to move this to 300K. All right, so there we go. Because, I mean, I'm not taking a position in this one, so I never did. But either way, just for the sake of watching this one, we're going to go ahead and move this to 300K as far as when I want to see that, trigger. And if you have decided to take a position in this one, and at this time, I want to let you know that we don't encourage you to invest in this channel, but you are engaging with crypto-related content, so we know you're probably going to invest anyway. But either way, still want to let you know the disclaimer has to be made that we don't encourage you to invest in anything. But with that being said, should you have taken a position in this one, and you're in profit, great. Okay, but you know, anytime, at least for me personally, if I'm going ahead and jumping into a token and I'm taking profit, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take the initials and maybe, you know, +5, +10%, you know, and then I'm going to go ahead and leave, you know, the rest in there, because at this point I'm just sitting on free tokens, right? So I've already mitigated the risk, you know, so at this point it's just free tokens, and then I might go ahead and set it at some, you know, crazy market cap. So, you know, if I've got maybe 20%, you know, of my original holdings, you know, in the token. At this point, you know, now I'm looking to go ahead and see if I can get maybe another 400 or 500%, you know, out of it. So a lot of times that's what I'll go ahead and I'll do. With that remaining, you know, 10 or 20%, whatever I've decided to leave in on the token, if I think it's got potential to continue to move, I'll typically go ahead and set it, you know, to trigger again. Usually on an 80-20 split, you know, or a 90-10, you know, at a 400 or 500%, you know, increase. If it can trigger at that point, you know, then obviously I'm still working with some tokens, but really not a lot. And then I'll continue to repeat the process to go ahead and trigger again and typically on the last trigger, it'll usually be for 100% of the tokens to come out, you know, again, at a 400 or 500% increase. So that's typically how I'll go ahead and I'll tier it. If, you know, I'm in a token and I'm trying to go ahead and, you know, use the bot to take profit, and then what I want to take out and what I want to leave in. So obviously the bot that I've talked about a lot of times on this channel is going to be Maestro. You know, some of those links are in the description, so make sure that you utilize that, you know, if you're looking to, you know, execute those trades a lot faster. I don't see why anybody, you know, trades manually these days. It's just too slow. But again, that's the reason why, if there's anything that I'm going to tell you guys, if you're going to trade, you know, that bots are going to be the way to go. So again, check out the description, check out the Maestro bot link, and familiarize yourself, you know, with that, you know, with that bot. So for your trades. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, and I'm going to close out Supervolt token. Toby, this one's another one. You can see nothing going on here on the 5-minute, you know, but interestingly enough, when we talked about this originally, this was at 60K. Okay, so at 60K, that was the note. That was the note that was made at the time of the alert. Okay, when we set those alerts indicators, and you can see both of these are triggered. You know, so this one was disabled, this one was disabled. So it did fall under 45K, and it did go over 75K. So what we can see here, since it triggered under 45K, and you can see it at the top, at the peak, you know, it touched 160K. So, I mean, good movement on this one. Obviously, at the peak, you know, whatever I said many times before, you're going to see that retracement, you know, so we got retracement, you know, right here. We're also dealing with the weekend. You guys know how I feel about the weekends. Weekends, typically, what are we looking at? We're looking at slower volume. We're looking at impatient holders. We're looking at people where, you know, they're looking like, if there's not a whole lot of volume, and you do have a lot of, you know, traders like that, you know, where it's like, you know, hey, if I'm not seeing volume, you know, I'm out of here. Now, I think personally, as much as I've talked about the fact that, you know, look, if I'm coming into a channel and I don't really see anything going on in terms of volume, then I'm going to go ahead and move on. If I'm already in a token and I think it's got potential, you know, I don't really care. You know, my thing is I'm going to focus more on the team. I'm going to focus more on the history. I'm going to focus on, you know, different elements of what I've seen them do, you know, in terms of trying to go ahead and push the token. That's going to speak, you know, more volume to me than seeing, you know, volume, you know, in the token, especially if I know they've got other tokens, you know, they've gone ahead and they pushed, you know, pretty well based on, you know, a pattern, you know, or method that they have that really works to go ahead and move tokens successfully. So, but again, you'll get that experience, you know, over time as you get, you know, more familiar with tokens and their respective teams as well. Now for this one, it's been a slow mover. I mean, honestly, you know, since we picked this one up some days ago, it's been a slow mover, you know, but again, even in spite of that, I think what the chart does highlight to us is that you got people that are in this token that have some level of conviction in regards to it. So even at the peak, you know, this didn't just completely dump. You know, you're still sitting at an 84 market cap, 84K market cap, you know, which is, you know, helpful. I mean, that's what you want to see. You want to see that, you know, even in spite of peaks on a chart, that people aren't just, you know, deciding, oh my gosh, you know, I've been in this long enough and I'm just done. Now you're going to get people that are going to go ahead and exit, you know, but again, it still looks like we still got, you know, people that are in this one. And what I think is going to be a good test is to see if they can go ahead and make it out the weekend, you know, still sitting above, you know, I think that 60K area, you know, because again, we found this at 60K. I think if they can go ahead and maintain that above 60K, this might have a chance to go ahead and see a new leg on it, but I don't know. We don't know. So, but either way, good to see that at least they did go ahead and make some movement, to that 160K area. Interested to see, if they can go ahead and, in spite of the retracement now, if they can go ahead and head back up, to those peaks, before. So once again, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. But that's gonna go ahead and do it as far as the review. Like I said, not a whole lot to go over in terms of review, but either way, did want to talk about the NFL token and Toby as well. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and head into review. So before we get into the filters though, I want to go ahead and show you Alpaca here. This is one where they launched, a pretty decent team. I've seen some of their launches, in the past, and, some of them are successful, some of them aren't. No team out there is, 100% in terms of every launch, that they engage with, but they did a lot in terms of trying to push this one. And this one, like I said, right here, I saw it when it was down in the sub 300K area. And, the team was talking about how, hey, we got some stuff we're going to go ahead and do and so forth, don't lose hope in the token. And then this one moved, it took off, over 1 million from this area. So they're still looking to go ahead and push this one. But again, what I think is tricky about the weekends is that, one, especially if you got boosts, you got ads, you got the trending. Again, I tend to think, especially in the weekends, it's a tricky thing to navigate because you got a lot of people that between Saturday and Sunday, there's just a lot of yeedy behavior. A lot of people just are very impatient and they just go ahead and just sell off. So and that does help to not necessarily help, but you can see the stronger communities versus the ones that aren't very strong. In terms of who decides to really sell off a token, over the weekend and who doesn't, so especially if it's a newer token and it's holding well over the weekend, I think that's a good sign. But for this one, I think it was helpful that, the team, was pretty convicted about making sure that they went ahead and they pushed this one. They got a lot of different elements going, even beyond what we're seeing up here in the banner, even beyond the trending that I know that they paid for. They're really trying to go ahead and move this one. They did some stuff I hadn't even heard of before in terms of trying to move it, which was pretty cool to see. So do I think this one's going to continue to retrace? I think over the weekend, yeah, we'll probably see, we might even see, 400 or 500K levels, on this one, throughout the weekend. But do I think it can probably, get back up to these levels? I don't know. I really don't know. Because again, you can only, look, there's only so much that you can do. And they pulled out, what appears to me all the stops on this token. So it's either the community is going to go ahead and really jump all over this one or they're not, so because I've seen plenty of tokens, where they've paid thousands to go ahead and move a token and the sentiment just wasn't there to, help that token find success, so, but either way, for anybody that was down here, and like I said, I watched this one since the early, because they actually started out on Pump Fun. They migrated, in literally like a minute. And then after that, after the migration, it went to like 500,000, after the migration. And so then it just kind of bobbled around in this area for a bit, and then it just hit these lows. And so it was last night when they were talking about how they're really going to go and seriously try to go and push this token, because the last launch didn't go so well for them, and it was on ETH, so they wanted to try out Solana based on what the community feedback was, so, and like I said, they went ahead and they took off, so, and they've had, like I said, they've had other successful launches, but they've been kind of hit and miss, lately, and the market's been kind of tricky to navigate, as well. So, but again, before we move on into the filters, this one, I think, we're going to set two alerts on this one, and I think that it's got a chance to, it might have a chance to go ahead and head back on up, but I'm not going to say that with any kind of conviction, because again, I typically, think that weekends are just really tricky in terms of, buyers that come into a token, because I don't think that they're long-term buyers. I think that they're here for a quick 2x and then they're out, so this could, potentially, come back down to these areas before having a chance to head back up. But again, I think it's going to come down to more, I think it's going to be more about the community than it is going to be about the team on this one. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's set some alerts. So we're looking at, this is saying 695, this is saying 698. So we're going to go to 698. And if you're new, anybody that's new, I do sometimes talk, pretty quickly, on these videos, but you have the benefit of the video, so you can always go back and review it as much as you need to hear and understand what I'm saying. So, and there are the times where I'm not talking as fast, but it just depends. So 698, I think, is what I said I was going to set this at. So here we are. We're going to go to 730 on this as far as the over. Okay, so there we go. And then on the under, okay, so here we are. Oops, what am I doing? Move that out the way. I thought I copied that, but apparently I didn't. So 698. And then on the under, we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to go to 500. So, I mean, I get it that is a massive deviation, from where we currently are. But like I said, the weekends are tricky, and I think there's a possibility that it could actually touch 500K, from where it's at right now, which is 200,000, in the minus, on their market cap. But again, we'll see. Everybody loves to see those green candles, but again, when people kind of just they look at the chart and they're really not seeing a ton of buy pressure, they want to see a chart continue to go up so they can take profit. When they don't go ahead and see that, they think that they think that the chart's really not going to move very much. So what do? They go ahead and they sell because they don't want somebody else selling before they do to lessen the value of their own bags. So yeah, and you can see there's some activity. Part of me thinks, even though we're not seeing those 1 cent buys and sells, part of me thinks some of this, may actually be some bot activity just because of how this is coming in. So yeah, but either way, we're going to go ahead and close this out, and we're going to move over here to the gear first. We're going to go ahead and adjust my view. So when I say adjust my view, we're getting rid of some of this stuff here because I don't need to see all this information. So, all right, so we're getting rid of price, transactions, volume makers. We're keeping all the time frames. We're getting rid of liquidity, and we're clicking apply. So now we can see that we're just keeping, this as my view. That's the information I want to see. But for some of you guys, as I mentioned before, you may want to change it another way, and see a different set of information. We're going to go into the filters, and we're going to take a look at all 3 chains today. Nothing to do here on the Dex side, just because we've already got multiple chains selected. And we're going to start out with our standard 50K, okay, and we're going to go to 100K. So there we are, pair age. We're going to go ahead and start out with the new stuff, and we're going to go to, I don't know, let's go to 30 hours. And 24-hour change, we're going to go to 10% on the minimum, okay? And I explained to you guys yesterday on yesterday's video, I believe, where what you can do in terms of, some further targeting. So keep in mind, guys, I've been saying it that you may want to pay attention, to watching more of the video, so that you can catch any time that I may go ahead and decide to give you a bit more information, here in regards to additional things you can do in terms of setting the filters. Now, I did that yesterday. I don't do it all the time, but again, this is the reason why you want to pay more attention to more of the video, because you never know when I'm going to do it, right? So here we go. We're going to click apply. And so we're going to go ahead and click, here on the 24 hours so that we can see we want to sort by, at least me personally, by the largest gain in the 24-hour window, and then everything up to at least 10%. We're not going to see anything in the minuses, so you can see how we targeted that. Sorry, I can't talk. Okay, so, and then keep in mind, as always, guys, whenever you're seeing these boxes with a question mark, a lot of times they're scams. There are outliers. Sometimes they aren't, but again, for the most part, we're not going to go ahead and touch these just because there's far more risk, with these ones, that I've found consistently where they've got that little box, with the question mark. So leave those alone. All right, so Musket, we're going to go ahead and open that one up. We're not messing with that. Pope, I have no idea what that is, but we'll leave it alone. We got an Emeraldish Agents and Tools, sure. Eat the Whales, I don't really know what that is. Steak Memes, sure, we'll keep that one. Doge Caucus. We've looked at another version of this before that actually did pretty well. I'm not checking this one out again. Janus Frame, we'll keep that one open as well. Okay, so we got 4 here. So we're just taking a quick look in terms of our scanning just to make sure the chart looks okay and that we get at least a telegram. We don't get a telegram here, so we're going to close this one out. This one, we don't get a telegram either. We're going to close it. This one, looks like it's bottomed out. I'm going to leave it alone. And this one looks like it's bottomed out. So, all right, and keep in mind, if it's somebody new, this is the process as you go through the filters. Okay, so we're going to come across some where our quick scanning, we're not going to like what it looks like, and then what do? We go back into our filters, and then we're going to make some changes to see what else it's going to give us. Because remember, the nice thing about Dexscreener is that Dexscreener covers everything. So there's a ton of data to go ahead and go through, and we want to go ahead and, for me personally, I like to go ahead and look at this stuff in chunks. So that's why I'm adjusting the market cap now. We could do the same thing with pair, with pair age, but I'm not going to do that. If we don't find, a lot that we like, out of the adjusting the market caps up to 500K, then I'm going to come back here into the pair age, and then I'm going to adjust the information there. Okay, so, and let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's start at the bottom. Okay, Timeless Martian, sure, we'll open that one up. Prism AI. Okay, Harry, sure, Platform, Purple Platform IO. Not seeing anything happening here on the 5 minutes, so we're not going to touch that. Remember, guys, on this one, whenever you hear the main screen, you can also take quick looks over here to see, if it's something you want to even explore, by opening the tab up. So I can see right here for this one, has that box with the question mark. I wouldn't touch it anyway. Okay, official dog of Bybit. We'll open that one up. Okay, MPC Miles, sure. Let's see, Polygon AI, sure, we'll open this one up too. The Notebook, nope, not interested in that. United States Doge Service, sure, we'll open that one up. Let's see here, the Deporter, no, not interested. Let's see here, Tinks, I don't know what that is, but nothing going on here in the 5 minute for that one, so we won't mess with it. Kenny the Sloth, I actually saw this one. I saw this one yesterday, and this one actually did pretty, it started out pretty well, so we'll take a look at it. In CyberKongs, we'll take a look at this one too. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. So Martian here, okay, no Telegram, we're not messing with that one. This one, don't like the chart. This one, chart is not that great. Tell you what, we're gonna keep it, for now. This one, definitely not. This one bottomed out, no Telegram. And this one, we got Polygon AI. Could be the start of an uptrend, maybe. We'll keep it for now. This one, this is United States Doge Service. Okay, so we're gonna go to the 5 minute here. And we got a lot of sell pressure, but we are seeing some buys starting to come in. If we get a Telegram, let's keep it. Kenny the Sloth, this one, the chart's not looking real good on this one, and they don't have a Telegram, so we'll leave it alone. Okay, and then CyberKongs, this one, not terrible, we'll keep it for now. Okay, so we're gonna open up some more. We're gonna go back into our filters, and we're going to adjust the market cap again. So 201, and we're gonna go to 300 this time. Oops, good grief. There we go. All right, I'm gonna click apply on this, and let's see what we got. Let's start at the bottom. Sure, we'll open this one up. Minotti, what is Minotti? That one doesn't have anything going on in the 5 minute, 1 hour, the 6 hours, so we're going to leave that one alone. Again, keep in mind, this is where it does help to go ahead and also pay attention to, and remember, what did I do with the gear? The gear, I went ahead and I removed a lot of that additional information so that I could only see the 5 minute, the 1 hour, 6 hour, and 24 hour. I want to see the time slots because I do that intentionally because I want to see quickly, what the volume is. And I don't want to be encumbered or distracted by any of the other information out there. So this is, to me, in my personal opinion, the only information that matters, for me personally, as I'm doing my own scanning. So Nano, we'll open this one up as well. And this is Harry Pothead. You're not looking at that one. Okay, and then we'll look at official JP Morgan coin. Okay, so let's make sure these work out for us. So go to the 15 minute, 1 hour. Not really crazy about this one, so we're going to leave it alone. Nano, okay, let's see here on 15 minutes. Maybe, we'll have to see, what's going on in the chat. And it could be, this could start to head back up. I don't know. We'll have to see. This one, not really digging this chart at all. Really don't like this chart pattern. Doesn't really remind me of a healthy chart. And a lot of times when I see charts like this, I think they're going to rub, honestly, just because this is not the typical pattern. You typically see a lot more, sells in this kind of chart. And these little spikes right here, this is not the stuff you see on healthy charts. So just making you aware of that. So I'm going to leave this one alone as well. We're going to go back in here. We're going to adjust our filters again. We're going to go to 301. And again, guys, just keep in mind, if anybody's been watching me, for any amount of time, this is kind of the process. Sometimes we get lucky and we don't have to go through it as much, as we're doing today, where we are able to go and pick up, good 10 or 11 tokens, but sometimes it's the process we have to go through, and it doesn't look like this all the time, but again, just keep in mind, this sometimes can happen. All right. So if it looks like a lot of work, it's not a lot of work. I'm trying to show this stuff to you guys, consistently. And remember, I'm a teacher by trade, so, naturally in real life, so everything's done through the frequency of repetition in trying to help you understand this is what you need to see. And the more often you see it, then you turn that into application, applying the information, and then you also get faster on your own as you're navigating and trying to scout for your own tokens. Workies. So this is the sole one. The one that I saw on ETH earlier this morning, that one ended up rugging after going from like 1 million to 7 million, and then they rugged everybody. So let's see what this one looks like. And we already took a look at that one. So we're going to go back here, and then we're going to go, remember, for anybody that's new, I typically tap out, at 500K, because I think, 500K, you're still early, especially if a token, takes off, into the tens or hundreds of millions. So 500K is still really early. So, but I don't really typically look at anything beyond 500K. Yesterday was an exception. We did take a look at some, outside of that window, but that's typically if we're looking at the front page where everything is unfiltered. So this is one I saw earlier, and I think I saw this one, I want to say just above 100K, so I wasn't sure how it would do, and I think it did like a 5x, so obviously it's retracing a bit, and you can see the time slot, so 5 hours. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go back over to Nano. All right, we looked at that one. This one, let's see what it looks like on the 15 minutes. Okay, so this one is looking pretty bottomed out, right now. I'm not really sure this is going to come back up, but we'll still go ahead and just because I'm kind of curious about it, we'll keep it and we'll see, if there's more buy pressure that comes up where we can see that this information change, into, well, we can see it right now. So almost 8%, but we got a big sell coming. But either way, let's see about this one, and yeah, this one looks like, it might be running out of gas. We're seeing, some large sells come in, okay, and not very many big buys come in. So when you see bigger sells, overpower, the size of the buys, then what are you likely going to see? You're going to continue to see that downtrend. And we can also see when we're looking at over here, we're seeing a minus 73% on the 1 hour. Now this should help, since we see a couple of big buys. So I'll tell you what, we'll keep it, since we're seeing those buys come in, and see how it does as we look into the channel. Okay, so with that being said, guys, give me a second, and then we're going to go into checking out the telegrams. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check out the telegram here for Harry, and let's see. So they got ads they paid for. They got a small boost, going as well. So let's check out the telegram now. Okay, so this is a CTO. We can see that right away. And we get a verification portal. So we're going to go in, see what they got going on. They got a VC going, over 10 members, which is good to see. They got a raid going as well. They're looking for 1 bookmark, 17 retweets, 18 comments, and 20 likes, So obviously they're getting some good participation coming from the community based on what we're seeing in the progress indicator here in the raid. Okay, so we're going to go on up and let's see if they got anything going on in terms of trending. And we also want to see new buys, right? So we want to see new holder. We don't want to see, stuff like, this where we're seeing position increase. And obviously, you're going to have people in here, where at lower levels they're trying to go ahead and add to the value of the bags and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But we also want to see, newer people, coming into the token as well, right? So, okay. All right, so I'm not seeing any live trending going on. Just seeing the raids, seeing the VC, and not seeing anything else going on in terms of exposure. And then obviously they got the smallest boost you can pay for. They've got ads, going as well. So I think it makes sense to go ahead and set 2 alerts on this one. So we're going to set an over and an under. We're currently sitting at 134. Tab is saying 134 over here. So we're going to go straight to market cap. I'm going to put in 134K. We're going to go ahead and copy that. And then on the over, let's go ahead and let's set this at 155. Okay. And then let's see here. So there we go. And then on the under, let's go ahead and let's set this at 100K. Okay. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to close this one out. And then we're looking at Polygon AI. So let's take a look at their channel. See if we get a verification portal. So here we do get that. And 642 members in the group. All right, so right away, we're looking for a raid. We don't see the raid. The last buy came in at 139, so that's just a few minutes ago. So no raid. I don't see anything going on in terms of trending, either. Okay, so this is again one of those weird ones where we see, because remember the last time we talked about one where we saw this, we didn't even see them in the top 10, right? So this one's saying 13, okay, and I don't think we're going to see anything beyond 10. Yeah, we're not. So yeah, so that's the unfortunate part. They only let us see the top 10, so we can't even verify that they're actually still on the leaderboard. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and head back. There's this one right here. So like I said, I mean, does it look like it may be active? Sure. I mean, because it's saying this at 129. It's currently 143 on my clock, but again, I don't know that for certain because I prefer to see that they're actually on the leaderboard, but you can't see that. Okay, so we'll say that they're trending, but I can't verify it. All right, and as far as what's going on here in the pinned messages, okay, so not a lot, okay. Let's see here. Devs are found in 1 p.m. That doesn't really need to be a pin message in my personal opinion, but whatever. Okay, and then they got X spaces stuff going on. So, okay. So we're gonna close this out. And so I don't know. For me personally, I think this is probably gonna go down. You don't see any ads or boosts, here. Again, they've got that trending supposedly, going on in the main Telegram. And we don't see any evidence, of a raid. At least I didn't think I saw one in regards to this particular one. I'll head back over there just to verify that, real quick. I think the last one that we saw, had the raid, but this one did not. So yeah. So this one I think is actually going to go ahead and head down. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert for this one. It's going to be on the under. So we're sitting at 135 K on the market cap. And for this one, I'm going to go ahead and set the under at 90. Going to go ahead and close this one out. So for this one, we see some buys, came into the chart, and so we can see that here, the buys, and then here, even when there was a sell, you can see buys, we're still trying to go ahead and come back up off of that sell. So we're going to go ahead and check out this Telegram and see what they got. Looks like they've also got, hot pairs, and looks like I think I saw a boost. So this one's got over 720 members, here. Small VC going, looking for trending, looking for raids. Don't see any live trending, don't see a raid, which we would have already seen that at this point. Okay, so it looks like the only thing going on is what they've got going on in terms of their boost. I think I saw the boost, right? Yeah, so we got a small boost going, their Dexscreener hot pairs, number 27. Okay, so not a lot to go ahead and push this one. So I actually think this was going to come down. So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert on this one. It's sitting at 104 according to the tab. So, and under. So we're going to say for this one, I'm going to set this to 75K. Okay. And we found it at 104. Okay. So there we go. And we're going to close this one out. And so CyberKongs. Let's check out the channel and let's see what they got going on. Okay, so we got a verification link. We got 633 members here in the group. All right, so we got a raid going. Raid's not very large, but it shouldn't take them anything to complete this one. You can't send any messages in the group. I don't really care for that too much, but they're looking for 5 bookmarks, 5 replies, 5 retweets, and 5 likes, right? So we're gonna go ahead and see when the last buy in here that took place. Okay, so a lot of memes. Okay, last buy was at 145. That was a minute ago. Okay, so that's good to see. Let's see. I don't see any sign of any trending yet. Okay, so just scrolling. I don't see, no trending. Okay, and the reason why the chat is closed is because for this one, they've locked the chat, while they complete the raid. So that's going to be an exception, when you see, a chat that's locked. You should, hopefully you want to see a raid going, taking place. But some people obviously feel like, when you lock a chat and you're completing a raid, they feel like it's bearish. However, they're locking the chat, so that you can focus solely on the raid. But, people want to go ahead and, at least from a standpoint of optics, they want to be able to see that the chat's open while people focus on the raid. But different teams do it different ways, so it is what it is. Looking at the pinned message, this is the only pinned message, so that's interesting. All right, so give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. So we're going to head back on out. So here we are. We close this up. And so we're going to go ahead and set 2 alerts on this one. So we're sitting at 136K. So we're going to go here. So we're going to go straight to market cap, and we're going to put in 136K here. We're going to copy that. And on the over, let's go for 155K. All right, and then on the under, so here we are, paste that in, and on the under, I'm going to go ahead and set it at 100K. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close this out. And then for Nano, I'm not going to go ahead and keep this one. I just don't think there's really much activity going on here. So we can see not even a percent, on the 5 minute, now it's in the minus, and then very little going on here. So I don't think it's really worth our time. This one working, so we're starting to see like a little glimmer of hope here. We're seeing some buy activity, here. Looking at 3%, on the 5 minute, but minus 64% on the 1 hour, minus 78%, here on the 6 hour. So here's what I think. I think this is probably going to get eaten up by Celsius because we're seeing so much sell pressure here. But I am kind of curious to see what's going on in the Telegram. So we're going to check out the Telegram and see what's going on there. This is the CTO. Okay, so we're going to verify. Oh, this is the other one. Okay, so yesterday, I mentioned Guardian, as one of these safeguards, like when you enter a Telegram channel. And this is the one that I was thinking of that I couldn't remember the name of, yesterday, but Protocol. This is another one that you see frequently. Guardian's probably one you're hardly ever going to see, but the Safeguard and the Portal Guard, these are two that you tend to see more often. Okay, so. But yeah, if you're not sure, if that doesn't make any sense to you as far as what I'm talking about, you'd have to go ahead and take a look at yesterday's video on why I said what I said, in regards to pointing that out. Okay, so here we got a VC going, 26 members. That's a pretty decent VC, for CTO. I will say that much. So we're looking for, okay, I'm looking for the last buy, and for some reason, okay, it's not giving me that. Give me a second. Let me see what's going on. Okay, not sure what was going on, but I had to restart my Telegram just to go ahead and see if I could actually see prior messages, because it wouldn't let me scroll up any further. But either way, we can see that last buy is coming in just about a minute ago. They're also on Soul Trending, so we're going to go ahead and make sure they're on the leaderboard. So the same in number 4. So we're looking for working. Okay, there it is. So we can come back here. Actually, we're not going to do that. So there we are. Oops, went to the wrong one. It's moving too fast. Okay, so that's good to see. They got Soul Trending, a lot of activity, but we've seen tokens with lots of activity before. And obviously activity, a lot of them doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go ahead and do anything, positive, but again, it is also always helpful to go ahead and see that. So let's see here. Let's see. I didn't see anything in regards to a raid, but all right, I'm just looking through the pinned messages here, so. Okay, so we're going to head on back out and see what they got going on in the banner. Okay, so they got a pretty decent boost here, that 1000x boost, so keep in mind a 500x boost is $4,000, so they've paid some really good money, for this boost here, and they are hot pairs number 3. Okay, so, but even so, you can see the chart's just headed down. These numbers, are what they are, so we're not going to go ahead and mess with this one just because even in spite of these numbers, it just looks like there's just the sell pressure is just overwhelming on this chart right now. And sure, you're getting a buy here, but again, unless this buy and subsequent buys like this come afterwards, your chart is going to still stay down here. And even with that $500 buy, what happened? You had a bunch, you had some pretty big sells that came in that basically ate that up, further keeping it in this level, so we're not going to worry about this one. Moving on to this one, and this is Anna, and this one I didn't catch, but didn't have a Telegram, so we're not going to worry about this one either. Okay, so with that being said, let me see where we at here. Okay, so we've already gone ahead and we've gone through 400 up to 500k. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the pair age, and we're going to go 31 hours to 100 hours. Oops, good grief, 100 hours. And we're going to look at just a little bit more, and then we're going to go ahead and move it along, so, and then we can obviously see there's just some stuff here that we wouldn't want to go ahead and look at, so at least that we can't, because it's a YouTube video. So let's see here. We're not going to look at that one and Wilkie. Okay, so we got a few here. Let's take a look, what these are. And this one, no Telegram. And then here we get a Telegram here, but let's see what the 1 hour looks like. Okay, this one looks pretty decent. And then Woki here, let's see what the 1 hour looks like. And this one's not too bad. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at these two. So let's take a look at the Telegram. All right, so we got a verification portal. Great. And we got just over 1,200 members here. Okay, so the chat's open. Good to see. All right, so last buy came in a few minutes ago. Let's see if they got anything going on in terms of a raid or any trending. Okay, so raid. Okay, they had one, but they couldn't complete it. So that's unfortunate. All right, and then no sign of trending. So we're going to go over here and see. Okay, so they got some information, for the community. They're highlighting, somebody bought $5,000, worth, which is, that's good to see. That's good to see that kind of those kind of buys. All right, so they've got some different things, going on here, in their pinned messages. Okay, so we're going to head back on out here, and we are going to set an alert. This one, I'm only going to set an under alert because I'm not interested in setting an over, given where the candle is at this point. So we're sitting at 501 on the market cap. So this is going to be an under. Okay, 501, and then we're going to let's set this at 440. All right, let's see if it triggers at 440. Okay, and then here for Woki, let's take a look, at the channel. Okay, so this one looks like a base token. Okay, So let's see here. Remember, base tokens tend to move a little bit slower. So let's see, last buy on this one. Okay, they've got a raid going. Okay, so they were able to complete the raid. All right, so we're looking for the last buy, last buy, last buy. All right, this is, okay, so this is already outside my 10-minute buy window. If you're new, I typically want to see a buy within 10 minutes, coming into the chat. I compare that, last buy to what's going on my current clock on my computer. And so it's this one's showing 141, it's 155, on my computer. So that's outside the 10-minute buy window. Okay, so we're going to go back out here, and I think that's going to do it for us, for today's video. We've gone ahead and we've covered, changed some different things in terms of the filters, on the price. We've changed things, in terms of the pair age. And now we're at a point, where I'm not going to continue to go ahead and do that. But it's good to see or have days like this, where we do have to continue to make those adjustments, because again, there's so much data that's within this platform, and you want to target the tokens that you want to see. So, and the process of doing that is you got to go ahead and dig a little bit, so, and that's what we do, trying to uncover, tokens where we can go ahead and spot some potential, set some alerts, hopefully those alerts will trigger, and then we can come back and take a look at what's going on and possibly get in before a pump, so, and as I've mentioned before, we've seen that happen several times throughout the first 50 days of the series. We've had several examples, where we got in early and we've been able to see stuff anywhere from a 2x pump, all the way to a 10x and beyond several times throughout the series. As I've gone through reviews, of capturing, those tokens, where we've seen that happen. So if you're new, definitely continue to go ahead and stick with us, and you'll see that we'll continue to go ahead and find additional stuff that we will, that's going to be essentially early before they pump. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend, and I'll see you on the next video.